fuels, they're not even that bad. So we'll give it a little bit more timing. That's so funny, it went richer as well.
That's so good.
So there's been a few viewers asking what the is going on with this contraption. So I guess we'll start, where did you get the car?
So this is actually my second Starlet. I had a grey one. I don't know if you remember the grey one. It was part of the airbag recall that Toyota had. It was a lot dodgier than this. I even tried PVC piping, intercooler piping at some point.
But did it work?
I don't know. I wanted to turbo a Starlet and I wanted to do it super cheap. So I looked around and did a bit of browsing on the forums, and a bunch of people were running them on the stock computers with a fuel cut defender. But most people had a pneumatic fuel cut defender, which is like a little boost tee that goes in there.
Yeah, okay.
So it's a bit dodgy. So I went with an electronic one, which is a little bit more expensive. But what it essentially does is, when the stock shitty map sensors in these get about 1 pound of boost, which is 5 volts, the ECU hits fuel cut.
Yeah, okay.
So the fuel cut defender, as soon as it reads 5 volts, will keep the voltage going to the ECU at 5 volts. So the ECU essentially thinks it's still only getting 5 volts. And then I put a rising rate fuel pressure reg in, which raises the fuel pressure.
I was talking to Grant and he said, you know how he tuned it, he adjusted the fuel pressure.
I literally adjusted the fuel pressure until I could get it to idle right, and then we were good. And to be honest, with the CT9 running like 7 to 9 PSI was perfect. But as soon as we tried upping the boost, it would just lean out immediately. I didn't know if it was leaning out because I never actually checked, but it felt like it was leaning out. So I thought we could put some bigger injectors in it and maybe get a bit more boost out of it. And these are actually, I saw in the video you're asking, these are a set of 4A GZE injectors.
Okay.
Which, when I did the math, were 187% bigger than stock. And I thought, how can I can't keep lowering the fuel pressure to account for that. You can't do it. So I figured we'll just try and slap some E85 in it and see if it runs better. And it actually ran surprisingly well.
Well, I guess the rule of the E85 is you use 35% extra fuel, so it would compensate for those larger injectors.
On boost, it actually seems like the air fuel ratios are pretty good, but idling is super rich. But I mean, I don't really care.
Yeah.
And all I did was just got Walbro 255 out of my other car and chucked it in this, and I also got some at Repco they sell this Gates barricade hose, which is E85 compatible.
Oh, cool. So it doesn't swell.
And honestly, the whole kit, I bought the dodgy eBay kit off someone for like $50 with the fuel cut defender, fuel pressure reg, everything. I reckon I probably spent like $500.
Yeah.
And it was running turbo.
Yeah.
The intercooler kit's it was like $250 off eBay.
Yeah.
And it all seemed to work.
Because the craziest part is, I've always been led to believe you need to have all the standalone ECU, you know, everything all set up properly, and it turns out to be thousands of dollars. But
if you do want to have the car running 100%, I'd do that.
Well, for what you've done, and it went on the dyno, like everyone can laugh and say this is dodgy, but when we ran this up on the dyno and the air fuels are 12 to 1, Keelan nearly shit himself. He said this is literally how he would tune a car. It was perfect. He couldn't fault anything with it. Down low, it definitely is rich, like we were seeing
I can't help that, unfortunately.
We were sort of seeing 9 to 1 around like idle sort of 3,000, but after that, the air fuels pick straight up. It's at 12 to 1, holds boost, holds that air fuel ratio, and it was mint.
Yeah, I do definitely want to put an ECU in this at some point and see if I can actually like take this 4E FE a little bit further, but I'm worried she's going to maybe pop, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, well, there's one thing to add to the story. So I got Kai to drive the car back. So he drove it there and said, oh, that goes really well. we did the dyno runs, did the dyno pulls stuff, and then when he drove it back, we pull up and he goes, oh, because all we did on the dyno was just adjust the timing and gave it 8 degrees extra
In
timing.
the video, you said something about the timing. I never actually touched it, so that was how Toyota left the timing.
Oh, okay.
So,
It was retarded a bit. So we did that and it picked up 20 horsepower on the dyno. So we knew it made a bit more power. So when Kai drove the car back and we pulled up, he said, man, that's going like a lot better. He goes, the clutch wasn't slipping on the way there, but it's starting to slip on the way back. Oh, okay. And it wasn't until I actually came out today and popped the bonnet, the back engine mount's flogged out and the engine's tipped up and the wastegate actuator hose hit the bonnet and split it off. So when Kyle was driving it back, it was on maximum boost on the way back. So I had to re-drill the thing and turn the wastegate actuator around a bit so that way it won't happen again. So we need to work on now doing a solid engine mount to stop the engine tipping up and doing that.
Yeah.
So that was a maximum boost. So
well, we actually had something similar happen on the grey one. This is the same motor out of the grey one, by the way.
oh, okay.
I bought this car for $200 because the clutch in it was stuffed.
Yeah.
And I figured rather than like fixing the clutch, I'll just put this whole engine and drop it in there.
Yeah.
Did it in like a day with the boys. And the wastegate hose was really long, the vacuum line, and I didn't think anything of it. And it was actually bouncing on the belt for the aircon.
Yep.
And it actually split the hose mid-drive, and the car suddenly started feeling better and better, and it was coming on a lot harder. And I didn't think anything of it until I got back to home and checked it, and it was running wastegate pressure, like full boost, essentially, on the CT9. I was like, I've been driving around like this all night, limiter bashing it. I was stressing out. So I had another drive with my mate reading the boost gauge, and it was like, the boost gauge goes to 20 PSI, and it was reading 20 PSI.
Oh no.
So I had no idea what it was doing all night, and it didn't blow up, so.
See, I try and do things properly and I have broken things and, you know, have engine problems and head gaskets and that. The fact that you fluke this and it actually runs really well, the wastegate hose has come off, like, can I give you money and you go buy me a lottery ticket?
I think, I don't know if I'm lucky, but yeah. I reckon it's definitely the way to do the Starlet on the cheap though.
Oh,
If you want a
100%.
turbo one.
100%. You see on the Starlet forums all the time, people, how can I do it cheap? I've got a turbo and there's a list of parts that ends up being thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
I mean, what's a fuel cut Defender worth? Oh, you bought that second hand, didn't you?
I got the fuel cut Defender brand new from Turbo Smart. I think it was $200, I think.
Yeah.
The pneumatic one was significantly cheaper, but I figured I'd spend money on the things that actually like were important.
Yeah.
That's a second-hand part out of my 180. The fuel pump's out of my other car.
Yeah.
I did it, yeah. I just did it as budget as I could, where I could.
And the two-step.
It's the two-step.
Because we didn't even know what it was. We seen the button and we're pushing it and the exhaust started backfiring and popping.
Yeah, so as dumb as it sounds, it's literally just a BR rev limiter, which is a two-stage rev limiter, which cuts ignition.
And how's that hooked up?
Actually, we'd be able to show you in the car. It's super dodge, but it seems to work all right. It's literally just one of these, and you snip the wire depending on how many cylinders the car has, and it just gets an RPM signal from the distributor, and it has wires going to the ignition on the ECU, and you actually set your first rev limit, which is the two-step when you hold the button in, the second rev limit, which I can't set because the engine just rev limits whatever the ECU is normally set to, and the gain is how big the bangs are essentially. And I don't know if it's a genuine one. I bought it off the Facebook Marketplace for like $50 and wired it in. It seemed to work, so
Yep.
happy with that.
Killer.
It's pretty funny.
Nah, it's killer. So,
You get wiring harnesses, wiring diagrams for it online and stuff. It's super easy.
yep. So with all the combo ready to go, you're entered for roll racing. So
Yeah.
we didn't want to turn up the boost anymore in case we blew it up, but no doubt you're going to go and drive around, have some fun with it now.
When I do the clutch in it, I'll probably have a fiddle with the boost. I don't know yet. The clutch is just going to be the thing that
Oh,
slips,
it'll just, yeah, let go. But the fact the air fuels are perfect, I think you can wind the boost up a little bit more.
Yeah.
Like I think you could push it to sort of 14 to the 15
I
mark.
hate to know what she was running with.
Wow.
With the wastegate not attached.
Well, Kai said just comes on boost and it was just clutch, that's it.
Yeah.
Which it wasn't.
It was doing that with the CT9.
Exactly.
So I hate to know what it was
Exactly.
doing. Yeah.
So if it wasn't sleeping before, the engine probably would have snowed, I think.
Yeah. Nah, she'll be fine. She loves it.
Yeah, so we put the aircon bracket back on
perfect,
properly.
yeah.
Aircon all works again now.
How good is that? I can't believe you fit a TD05 with the stock radiator and the aircon.
Yeah, it's in there.
That's the best thing.
I did have to chop up your piping kit though to get that to fit.
Yeah, I thought you might. That's fine.
But anyway,
It was only an eBay jobby anyway.
but no, this is definitely surprised me. Definitely surprised me. Goes well.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Sick. Oh. If you guys like that, like, share, subscribe, show everybody. This is History Made, Starlet on a Factory NA computer. See you next time.